Welcome back. Now, last time we put street harassment in a broader cultural context, and this time we're going to go a little more below the surface. So one of the biggest problems with street harassment is victim blaming. Essentially, society says that if you were harassed, it was somehow your fault. You might have been wearing the wrong clothing, not acting the right way, been out at the wrong time, been in the wrong place. There's a million and one ways that our culture tells us that street harassment needs to be prevented by its victims. A perfect illustration of this is the self-defense movement that seems to be popping up everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong, learning how to defend yourself is great and it can be a valuable skill to have. But when those classes are marketed with the messages that you should be responsible and ready to take action against street harassment or an attack, then we're going about it in the completely wrong way. We're telling people that it's their job to prevent an attack from happening against them and to be ready, when really we should be telling attackers that, hey, that's not cool. You really should not be doing that. We have created a world that women don't feel safe in. According to data from Gallup surveys that were taken in 143 countries in 2011, it was suggested that men and women don't feel equally as secure when going out alone. And this included many high-income countries, including Australia, France, and the good old US of A. They also found that men are considerably more likely than women to say that they feel safe walking alone at night in their communities. Women are policed by society, which means that they are not given the same freedoms as men to go out late at night or alone without feeling unsafe or insecure, like they have to be on their guard or like they have to be with another person. Of course, while these sanctions may not be actually enforced by the law, all of the cultural messages around sexual violence clearly make this apparent. Women are warned and told to not do anything dangerous and thus are made to feel afraid. In this way, women in our society live by an unofficial curfew. So when people act like our culture is so much better than those in Middle Eastern countries where women often do have curfews that are enforced by law, it's time that they examine how our own culture restricts women and takes away their freedom. While all of this may be depressing as fuck, street harassment doesn't have to exist. We do have the power to act, take action, and demand that we end street harassment once and for all. Here's a list of 5 actions that you can take to end street harassment. Stop harassers. Intervene if you see someone that's being harassed. This can be done in so many different ways and could be as simple as going up to the harasser and just asking them a simple question like what time it is. If you do intervene, it's important that you do something to either bring attention to the situation or stop the harassment from happening or make sure that the victim is okay and safe. But always remember to keep your own safety in mind. I'm going to leave a link in the description of a blog post that I wrote that has a bunch of other ideas of ways that you can intervene if you see street harassment. Speak up. Talk about street harassment with your mother, your girlfriends, your sisters, and see what their experiences are. And open a dialogue about this issue. You can even start a discussion group about this at your school or create a town hall around the topic of street harassment. And if you are the one being harassed, let that harasser know that what they are doing is wrong and it's not okay, of course, if you feel safe, and report the incident to the police. By doing this, you are speaking up for all of those other women whose voices are not being heard. Educate yourself. Read Holly Curl, founder of Stop Street Harassment's book called Stop Street Harassment: Making Public Places Safe and Welcoming for Women. The book really gives a detailed look at street harassment around the world, solutions, activism. You can also go read some really great op-eds on their website, stopstreetharassment.org, as well as a bunch of scholarly research and polls that are both official and unofficial. You can even conduct your own research on this, since street harassment is way understudied. Holla back. Holla Back is an international anti-street harassment organization that empowers women in the streets. And that is according to freaking Gloria Steinem. So you know that they are legit. You could share your story anonymously, you could volunteer, or even start your own chapter of Hollaback in your city or your college. And they also have iPhone and Android apps where you can virtually document street harassment that you saw happening or that happened to you. That will then be placed on a map to show where street harassment is happening. Through this app, you can also share your story and even take a picture of the harasser or the incident. And you can really raise awareness this way. Participate in Anti-Street Harassment Week. This takes place every year from April 7th to 13th. And you can do a million things to partake in this, from writing a Facebook or Twitter post about street harassment, start a march or a protest, or even create a poster campaign. There are also a bunch of anti-street harassment events taking place around the world. And you can visit meetusonthestreet.org to get even more ideas, sign up, and also look for events that are happening near you. So street harassment sucks, but we have the power to change things. We can start by not blaming victims and also working actively to create social change. And we can do this by working with some badass activists, educating ourselves and others, speaking up, and not letting it roll off our back.